my mother was someone that I always fought with. I mean, I really made her life tough.
Yeah.
I fought with my parents relentlessly through my 20s and 30s about these issues. And as it started to change me, I was able to reconnect with my mother before she passed, and that was really nice. And she would we'd have long conversations about it. And
What did she see of it?
She had always warned that these ideas were destructive to society and also harmful to the kids. I think she used to tell me that, Derrida ruined your life. Derrida changed you. Where's the Paul I used to know? What happened to you? And there was a lot of truth to that. I'd say postmodernism kind of melted my brain in undergrad in a lot of ways.
Me too, but it was fun while it lasted. What was it about?
It was fun while it lasted, right? It's
what
a
was
thrill. The paradox.
Derrida.
Turning, that something could mean the opposite, or that you can undermine a text with just a little dangling thread, and that, what does it mean to even be if you have to describe being in terms of being? The invisible net of signifiers, and underneath it there's an abyss, and all of these amazing ways of looking at being as a function of language. And if you that's really, I think, the first seduction, is that being is a linguistic phenomenon. And if you are a text, if you Benjamin Boyce are an intersection of texts, then your essence, your romantic essence of transcending that is is just an imaginary thing. And
it's
you are,
signifier.
the just, right? Whenever you say that a human being is just something, you've already lost the game. You've already impoverished yourself, in my opinion. Like you're just a clump of cells. You're just a biological this. You're just some signifiers on a page. You're just your context, whatever it is.
Okay.
You've diminished, and you have taken the bite of the apple at that point, and you're not going to be yourself, because yourself always has to be. Now, maybe it all fits together in some way. Maybe the abyss is not an abyss. Maybe the abyss is a suffusion of spirit, and that it can blast through the net, and you can find that's what creativity is. But when I was going through that, I was a frustrated creator, I guess, and I wanted to create through interpretation. And it was just compensatory behavior for not being able to write or be the genius I thought I was, or whatever that story was.
Was there no umbilical cord, no tether? How did you dangle over the abyss without not just dangling, but?
Yeah, it was all things that people who I pushed away, like my family, that were just keeping me tethered without me really admitting or caring, frankly, not realizing how important family was and friends were, and taking them for granted, and taking advantage of them, and just not being but I felt like I think now, all these people were trying to help me, and I never acknowledged it. Because I was just obsessed with other problems. And
did social issues come in to give you purpose out there, or were they temptations to have a grounding? Because that, in one critique of postmodernism, how it becomes part of what we're seeing now is that once you strip all meaning, then you can rest meaning within oppression. That right. becomes the grounding. Was that something that?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I aligned with causes, and I was LARPing on radical stances, and it's funny, there was a friend of mine who, we were working with this environmental activist fellow who recently reached out to me, actually. And I remember him talking about letter writing and protesting, and I was just like, call me when you want to throw a bomb. You know, like I didn't know anything about bombs. Like that wasn't. I mean, it was a ridiculous posture. Mm-hmm. But you know, the wanting to throw a bomb, the wanting to destroy as an act of definition, mm-hmm. and you know, that was something I was very drawn to.
Did you get to do that creatively somehow? Is there like a Hyundai out there in Death Valley that you got to enact your bomb throwing on?
No. I was probably too scared or timid to actually even do that. But I wrote a lot of things. I wrote a lot of very violent, disturbing things that.
What, like short stories, poems, rants?
Yeah, I mean, just rants,
kind of things,
that kind of stuff, rants, and things that I would read later and be disgusted with, and
disgusted with aesthetically or ethically. Was there an aesthetic refinement that you were undergoing?
I was really disgusted with myself, and that I would write this thing, and that it wouldn't do any good in the world, and who would read this, and why would that help them? You know, like, what is the point of all that? What is the point of writing this thing that I felt I needed to get on the page when, you know, it's not going to do any good for anyone? So, like, I don't know. I think maybe like the judging self still had some good in him.
There's, for me, like, my story aligns with yours in a lot of ways, and I sped up through my postmodern crisis. I took it to the limit, and I was done by 24, and I was very lucky to find something that gave me meaning, which was to serve other people in the capacity of a preschool teacher, and learning that, and that is what, for me, made me really realize that the only value in a work of art is what it means to other people. The value is not in what I invest in it. The value is in how I can elicit the value from other people into it. And it still took me years and years and years. I don't think I'm done yet with at least artistically transcending the ego in that way. But it's all based on, you know, the salvation for me was service in a way.
That's great.
Everything contingent on that.
Yeah.
That seems like the mentor solution that you were talking about.
Yeah. No, I feel like that aligns with my experience much later in life around teaching. I think that feeling of having a value for other people and that the reward of that relationship, and you know, having to invent a persona that was functional and, you know, had that element of service to it, is, you know, that changed a lot. And it was in the context of me just trying to do a good job. You know, just get up in the morning and not regret what I did that day.